Welcome into the Meltdown, presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver's studio. I am Tim Melton. We're broadcasting on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Appreciate you being here for day 3 of the show. A little bit more of a somber show today, especially for me. I lost my dad yesterday, Charlie Melton. He was a dedicated man, dedicated to my mom. They recently celebrated 53 years of marriage together this past October. He was dedicated to our country, having served in Vietnam and participated in the Tet Offensive. He was dedicated to our home city of Birmingham, Alabama, having solved a number of homicide cases alongside his detective partner, Morgan Knight. And even after all of these years, they still have quite the reputation for the way they were able to get the job done from the ground up. They were a great team and both impacted and saved countless lives with their work. My father eventually, with the disability that he developed at the hands of Agent Orange, which was the most extensively used herbicide in Vietnam, had to turn over his badge as chief of police in Graysville. And you know what? He could have given up right then, and I wouldn't have blamed him, having lost his professional identity, but he did not. And he did what he had to do to secure his retirement and provide for our family. And he never let the stress of his work affect me directly. He fought for victims of crime and their families, and he fought for our family until he no longer could. We didn't have the traditional father-son, let's go play catch in the front yard sort of relationship. His physical limitations prevented us from having that lifestyle. He became obsessed with the newspaper and radio and television news. They spoke his language. And they covered his world of street crime and global conflict. That's what he was interested in staying a part of, learning about, trying to solve cases. That's how his mind worked. It's what he knew best. It was definitely his communication style as well. Art was never an escape for my dad like it is for so many, and the things that he witnessed were rarely, if ever, discussed. My mother is the one who loves music. My dad couldn't carry a tune. But my father knew that I loved film, video games, and music, and he always supported my passion for those mediums. I could always pick the rental from the video store that weekend with no argument. He trusted me with that duty. He drove me to the nearest theater in our area that was about 40 minutes away and would drop me off for double or triple features every few weekends. I would actually do my homework that I had for the weekend in between showtimes. And while he didn't love movies, he literally helped fuel my love of them by bringing me to them without a single complaint. He always was right back there at the theater ready to pick me up. When I started driving, I took him to go see the movie Cars. And it felt like a movie that he could enjoy without feeling too much stress. It was a great day. And while he enjoyed it at the time, stepping into my world, my dad wasn't the type to reminisce about story-driven content. He had to get back to the news. So that's why I went into broadcast journalism. You know, if I could make it in one of those 3 avenues, either print or television or radio, then I felt like we could connect in a way that we'd never been able to before. So in that same semester of college, I interned at ABC 3340 here in Birmingham, where his favorite local TV anchor worked, who was Pam Huff. Sorry, Jim Dunaway, you were a close second. I became a senior staff writer and editor for UAB's Kaleidoscope newspaper, and I got my first job in radio, working with Dad's and also my favorite play-by-play man ever in Eli Gold. My dad was the type that would turn the TV down and try and sync up Eli's voice with the TV. Eli recommended that I get a special kind of radio that has a delay so you can set the device itself up with his play-by-play. And we bought one, and my dad loved using that on Crimson Tide game days. Eli was such an important voice in our household and so important to my early career growth, and I wish him the very best with his next chapter. I met John Lunsford, who is my co-host of this show in the radio world at the time. He's been my Morgan Knight. We've developed a reputation of getting the job done from the ground up. We've made a great team. And it started with a silly little show that we called the Midnight Meltdown. And we did it twice a week from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., and then later 9 p.m. to midnight. It's my favorite project that I've ever done. I've spent 13 years trying to get back to it, and my dad has with no exaggeration. Listen to all of it. 13 years. And I'll miss him. I know that he's proud of us reuniting and getting a chance to do this. And I know for a fact that John and our boss Reed would have given me the day if I'd asked for it. Maybe I should have. Who knows? But I wanted and needed to be here today doing this job that my dad loved me doing the most. In a way, it is most fitting to honor him by being here. So, with that, there have been hundreds and hundreds of messages that have come in on social media. My phone has been blowing up with texts and calls. I will return each and every one of those, I promise you. But I'd like to thank John Lunsford, Rockstar, who's here with us in studio today, and Tyler for being here. And at the risk of being totally jarring, I'd really like to try to have as normal of a show today as possible and get to do what I'm so excited about doing and building alongside all of you and with you that are watching and listening. So with that, Rockstar has the tough task of pulling out his guitar and performing a little ditty for us, which is our Luntz's List theme song. And today's topic will be one that talks about a very influential decade, the one in which I grew up in, the 1990s. We'll give you the topic here in just a little bit.
What is this? What is this? Luntz's List. What is this? Oh, what is this? Luntz's List. What is this? Luntz's List. Oh, Luntz's List of 5. Luntz's List of 5. Come on now. Luntz's List of 5. Luntz's List of 5.
All right. That was beautiful. Luntz's List today is the 5 90s movies that made the biggest impact on John Lunsford. Going back to the 1990s, which was a simpler time in our country. John, how did you approach this list today?
All right, so everybody always asks me when it comes to Luntz's List how I approach it, and each one is different. With this one, it was, look, we, not Tyler, but me, you, Rocky grew up in the 90s, and, that was kind of our first introduction into movies, and that was kind of our time to figure out what we liked, what we didn't like, and, how to approach media as a whole, TV shows, music, everything. And so, I thought, okay, before I look up movies and say, oh, I forgot that one, let me just name movies right off the top of my head I know are not only, movies that are impactful in my life, but movies that I know were, uniquely 90s. And I came up with probably 6 or 7 that I knew were 90s. And then I was like, okay, let me go. I'm sure I missed some. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that was 99, not 2000. Oh, that was 90, not 89. And I slowly but surely came up with a list of 23 movies. And I'm like, okay, Tim told me to do 20 or to do 5, not 23.
I did not tell you to do 23 for sure.
Literally been 5 our entire career we've been doing this. But so I thought, okay, what are the 5? And, really it was kind of easy to choose 5 of those first group that I thought of right off the top of my head that I know they're A, uniquely 90s, and B, they're the first movies that came to mind. Obviously, those are the most impactful to me, so that's why I chose them. So, that's how I came up with the 5 movies here on Luntz's List.
All right, let's go ahead and start off with number 5 on Luntz's List. As Rocky, I know the 90s were very influential for you.
There were, and I'm super curious to see what these are impactful to Mr. Lunsford over here, and to see how I compare to, oh God.
What is this one? I can't see anything. Titanic. Okay.
Can I make an admission?
You never seen Titanic?
Don't say that.
I've never seen Titanic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's only one of the biggest and greatest movies, not just of the 90s, but of all time.
I know the biggest moneymaker. I get it, but, it's just,
Our former colleague who was in the chat with us on Monday, John Saber, he also has never seen Titanic. And I don't know if it's just like a producer thing.
No, it's not. Here's the thing. Now it's to the point. It's like when Godfather. You agree that's a great movie?
Yeah. No, well, I think it's overrated, but
1 and 2, whatever.
It's considered a great movie, yeah.
There is a time where you missed the boat, Titanic, sadly.
Wow.
Where
that was bad fun.
That was
well,
really
you kind of want to miss the boat for this one.
I guess technically, yeah.
Yeah. So if I told you, Tim, let's say you've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest movies in the 80s ever, and you watch it tonight, do you think it's going to have the same impact on you as it did for the most people that saw it in 1986?
No, but I would counter-argue with, I think Titanic is timeless because of the time
Correct.
period in which it's set in.
I agree.
And I think in every movie on my list, I would say that with, because there are a lot of movies when I thought, oh, I love that seeing it when it came out in 1994, because I was a kid learning, hey, this is something, I like that. I want to watch more of that. But now I go back and watch it and even realize, maybe not so much now. It's hard for me to say, okay, let me introduce the next generation to this.
Yeah.
But Titanic is definitely not one of those movies because they just re-released it.
I agree.
Massive
I know
re-release. I guess
it's
it was
a bad
about a year
argument
ago.
on my part for the Ferris Bueller thing, but this is a massive, massive, massive movie that James Cameron made a lot of money off of, and he's finally delivering the 15-part Avatar series that we can watch.
Yeah.
You know, there was a story about Titanic where the whole entire cast and crew got sick off of clam chowder because there was some sort of disgruntled employee with the catering company that got fired and decided to taint the clam chowder, which is not something that I thought I
Clam
would
chowder's
be saying.
already tainted by itself.
Yeah, really.
Taint the clam chowder. Put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
But and it got the whole cast and crew sick. And I mean, that was just one of many things that were reported on that were leading industry experts to saying this is going to be the biggest bomb of all time, and it ended up becoming the biggest movie of all time.
Well, because I think people thought it was going to be the biggest bomb. Like, we already know what happens. It's like they're going to do, Abraham Lincoln's going to go see a play. We know it's going to happen. So I think that was a big thing. But I'm no disrespect. I'm not saying this is a stupid movie. I'm just saying, like, I feel like I missed the boat. I don't see myself watching Titanic tonight because of the fact that I haven't seen it.
In the chat, we'll take your suggestions. Is it too late for Rockstar to watch Titanic and get enjoyment out of it? Is it too late?
Let me also say this. Part of the reason I put it on my list, it is timeless because seeing it a year ago, my wife and I went on Valentine's Day to see it because they did a re-release. Now, you can look at it and say, yeah, there's like CGI characters, but this is 90s when that wasn't really a thing yet on the boat when it's from afar showing the whole boat. And it's like, you can tell its characters are a little pixelated, people walking around. You can pick it apart now if you really wanted to. The story works. It introduced Leonardo DiCaprio to most people. It wasn't his first movie, but it introduced him to everybody.
I would argue Growing Pains is what introduced Leonardo DiCaprio to most people. Maybe you could make the argument, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, but I don't think that would be
The one
case.
I feel he should have won an Oscar for was What's Eating Gilbert Grape,
Well,
not The Revenant.
And that's probably the one, and The Revenant are like the only two I haven't seen that he's done.
Didn't Tommy Lee Jones win for The Fugitive that year? Wasn't that same year?
Well, it was Best Supporting Actor,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think you can take it away from Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive
But
to give it to Leonardo DiCaprio
That's
there.
true, but out of his whole body of work, I argue that Arnie from What's Eating Gilbert Grape he was amazing in that role, and not The Revenant. He just woke up in dreams.
You haven't seen Titanic. No, I'm just kidding.
But so not only did it introduce Leonardo DiCaprio, I think it changed James Cameron.
Kate Winslet introduced Kate Winslet.
It did introduce Kate Winslet. I just feel like if you say actors, a lot of people put Leo one. I don't think anybody puts Kate Winslet one. That's not a shot at her necessarily, but it showed the range for James Cameron because pretty much everything he had done to that point was sci-fi and action. And this is a total departure from that. Now he's gone back to it because Avatar is all he's doing now. But it kind of showed, hey, James Cameron's got a little more range. He should be, not that people like Terminator, people like True Lies. There's other movies out there that he did, but this shows, look, he can do it all like a Spielberg can do, like these other directors can do.
You know what's very telling, and that is the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio. That's
come on,
good. Sorry, Leonardo DiCaprio likes to work with the same directors over and over again. And him and James Cameron have never worked again. And I think it's probably because that was a pretty tense set. Leo did not want to do a test read for the part. He just wanted to be given the part. And
he wasn't there yet.
James Cameron was like, you've got to read for the part. I'm sorry, but I'm not interested.
It doesn't matter how many people saw Growing Pains or how many people saw What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
It was coming off Romeo and Juliet, I'm guessing.
But the minute
Actually, almost watched that last night.
The minute that he read for it, Cameron knew he had found his Jack Dawson. And, it's a lovely story now, but I'm sure production on that was the most miserable production to be a part of.
It's the clam chowder.
Is the tainted clam chowder. All right.
Also, last thing on Titanic, I think, and this may be a bad analogy, but I started thinking about it. I think Titanic did for, I guess you called it a disaster, movie with the crash and everything. But it did for that what a movie like, I feel like Godzilla -1 this year did for monster movies. Humanizing the people that are actually involved in the situation. If I think of like the perfect movie that it's not about the boat sinking, It's about the effect that boat sinking had on the characters that you're following. You watch an American Godzilla movie now, it's just about Godzilla blowing stuff up and fighting Kong and stuff like that. It's not about the people that are involved in it, but Godzilla -1, why it was such an incredible movie for all of us to go see, is it really humanized the people that Godzilla, and it humanized enemies of World War II as well. That's what made it so good. I'm not saying that has anything to do with Titanic back in 1914, 1912, whatever it was. But I feel like it did a really good job humanizing the story you're telling. And also, oh, by the way, the boat sinks, and it's about them as opposed to just, let's just make the boat sinking this crazy spectacle, as opposed to let's focus on the people trying to get on the life rafts and get out.
I remember the VHS I was most excited to ever purchase was that of Titanic, because it came in the double VHS. It was like a block of Titanicness.
So does it just say like, please insert side 2 now? Like, oh wow,
it really does say please insert tape 2 or whatever at the end of the first one. You're like, okay, here we go, and things are going to pick up dramatically when you insert tape 2.
Where did they break?
I want to say they broke right after the ship hit the iceberg. I believe that's where it was.
It is kind of a first and second half, because as the ship hits the iceberg, not to spoil it, but I don't know if you're going to watch it.
It did hit the iceberg.
As the ship hits, they could have Tarantino'd it, I guess, and had something completely different happen. But as the ship hits the iceberg is also when the story of Jack and Rose kind of takes its turn into, we don't want this to be a relationship anymore. Jack's a peasant; he needs to go away. The whole thing is like he's a peasant, she's rich, anything anyway.
Bill Hader got fired from his movie theater job because he spoiled the ending of Titanic for people who had not yet seen it. And
that it crashes,
she wasn't big enough for the door.
That Jack
he wasn't big enough for the door.
That Jack doesn't make it at the end.
That she says, "I'll never let you go," but actually lets him go.
Well, there's that too. But
I'm just saying.
All right, let's move on.
Never mind, this isn't on the list anymore.
Let's move. Hey, Zach, real quick though, yes. John, are you eating a lot of clam chowder these days on Way to Wellness? Is that part of the program?
I'm not eating clam chowder, but I mean, I guess if it makes me throw up, it would help. But no, look, Way to Wellness has been incredible for me.
Worst intro into this is possible.
I tried to make some kind of funny joke. It always backfires. But what doesn't backfire is me going to Way to Wellness. It's been incredible for me so far. I'm close to 40 pounds. I weighed today. I'm 1 more pound away from hitting 40 pounds lost. And it's been incredible. Leslie and her whole team have done an incredible job with me. Go to aplanforme.com there, and I had a dream last night that I messed this read up, and I said aplanforyou.com instead of a plan for me, because it's not a plan for me, it's a plan for you, because Jim always says that in his read, but it's a plan for you and it's a plan for me.
Well, now I'm more confused than ever after hearing all of that.
What's that website, John?
I had a dream we were doing the show. It's aplanforme.com. Go there. And look, Way to Wellness has been incredible for me. I've lost a lot of weight on it. It's been an incredible program. It's literally only been a little over, I guess today is 5 weeks on the program, and I'm almost at 40 pounds lost. They've done an incredible job getting my, eating habits changed. They've done an incredible job with, just getting my life habits changed. As an offensive lineman, I developed a lot of bad habits when it came to eating, getting stronger, stuff like that. And it kind of carried on into the rest of my life. So go to aplanforme.com. Leslie and her team there have done an outstanding job. My dad's been on it for about a year. He does great. Obviously, Jim Dunaway here has done it for a long time and has done great with it as well.
All right, let's move on to number 4 on Luntz's list. We already have a lot of your comments coming in of what should be on the list. And I have a feeling some of you have already struck gold based on what I'm seeing. I think at least one of these. I think I have one that is an absolute lock to be on this list at some point. Will it land in the number 4 spot is the question. But some people wanting Starship Troopers. I don't think that's going to end up being
different color right now, too.
Tommy Boy, Black Sheep. I don't know if those are going to be on there. Blade and Demolition Man. Face Off, Con Air. We've got a lot of your choices coming in. Let's see here. Number 4, The Lion King. Now, for those that are confused, this would be the animated version of The Lion King, which came out in,
1994. Sorry.
1994.
I spoiled it.
I was
ready to jump in.
It's okay.
Honest admission for me?
Oh, no. No.
Hey, can I go 0 for 5 on my list?
No. I had not seen it till this year with my son.
Okay. Well,
did you like it? Did it hold up?
We watched the remake first. We watched the digital, the newer one first, and then we watched my wife had me watch the cartoon one, the Disney version. But so it was good.
Did you know the story before you saw it, though, of what was going to happen, all the different plot points?
Yes, I don't know. It was a good film. I'm not one of these ones like I'm not watching a stupid. No, like it's just I never saw it. I think Aladdin was the last Disney animated movie I saw until before Pixar and all that stuff.
Tyler, Lion King was before your time in terms of its original theatrical release, but does it hold up still to you as one of those childhood movies you have to watch?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Lion King 1, 2, and 1.5.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you ever had that DVD.
That's a deep dive.
It's a deep dive, but y'all can leave those out. It's okay.
We had a teacher, it was my choir teacher in school, that was obsessed with playing the Lion King for us whenever there was a day where the VHS machine would come out. Except it was always Lion King 2. And you could tell there was a...
They didn't have the rights to one.
It may have been 1.5 now that I think of it. It actually may have been 1.5.
1.5's the one that does it from the other perspective, right?
Yeah.
And then 2's the like.
Yeah, 1.5 focused on Timon.
Timon and Pumbaa, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, why can't we go original Lion King here? It's such a better quality film, you know, and it has the whole different. But anyway, shout out to Miss Hughes. Let's get into Lion King and why it's so important for you, John, because I'm more of a Beauty and the Beast guy.
So,
That's my guest.
now I will say I like the Beauty and the Beast live action better than I did, if you want to call it live action, Lion King.
Oh.
Just from like live action movies that Disney's done, I think Jungle Book's the best. Then I'd probably go Beauty and the Beast second. It's hard to compare Jungle Book and Lion King because it's basically straight up CGI, but
Beauty and the Beast, that remake's still the highest grossing movie ever to release in the month of March. And that is going up
fact.
against,
What a fact.
it's the truth. It's
that's-
going up against some huge heavy hitters as well in the month of March. But
yeah,
That's a big
and
one.
the way movies are now with all what we talked about yesterday, I don't know what'll pass it in the month of March. I don't know that Dune. I mean,
yeah, I don't think it will.
because Dune's got to make it well over $1 billion to pass it, and I don't think it will.
pass
But no, so the Lion King, a great voice cast. James Earl Jones, I know when it comes to
Jonathan
voices,
Taylor Thomas.
yeah, even though he didn't sing. But the iconic music, Elton John, Tim Rice, and doing that kind of led into Aida, which is one of my favorite Broadway plays of all time. And because they did music in that as well. Everything about it's just kind of iconic. It's one of those things you can look back to. Circle of Life. How many times have you held your pet up in the air like you're, Rafiki holding up Simba? There's just a lot of. I've done it a lot.
That's one good way to get your eyes clawed out.
Yeah.
Is holding up your cat like it's. I remember at the last UAB game I went to this year, there was a Simba cam, and I held up my daughter, and
Yeah.
she's also a giant. We have a giant family,
It's a little different than when she was a baby.
and I held her up, and everything was hurting, and she's screaming.
It's Jolly Green Giant and Sprout. Little
and
Sprout.
I'm holding and I'm doing this number, and she's shaking, and they never put us up
But
there.
say you never got on
We never got up there on the.
We were just at home. We were never actually at the game, but
I don't
it
think
didn't
we
work.
got there.
I'll say this for the Lion King 2. I was 7 when it came out, but it's like the first coming of age movie that I really remember watching as I was getting into that point of coming of age. Like, because it is very much a coming of age, going from a little kid, a little cub to,
I just can't wait to be
growing up.
king.
Yeah, and then of course, Hakuna Matata, when they see him kind of growing up on the log as they're going along. So that's one of the few things I remember of all the coming of age movies that, like, once you come of age, it's cool to go back and watch it or maybe see it through your kid's eyes or something. But like as a kid, that's one of the first ones I consciously remember watching. It's like, this is a coming of age movie as I'm starting to get to that point in life.
We just had to do a diorama of the East African savannah at home, and I put on the Lion King for inspiration this past weekend or whatever. And it was like, just how do we copy the images? Because one beautiful thing about that movie is the color palette constantly changes
Yeah.
throughout.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's blue when it needs to be blue. It's pink when it needs to be pink. It's it's a brown. It's all different colors around all the time, and it works thematically. And it's a really a beautiful movie for sure. I'm just more team Beauty and the Beast. But we have another Lion King movie coming out this year. Y'all know about this?
Yeah, the Mufasa movie.
Mufasa movie's coming out this year. So you didn't mention that already, did you?
No, but
Okay,
I mean,
I was making sure.
It's one of those that, once again, the live action one was, it's fine, but it was my biggest problem with it was basically shot for shot remake. And I feel like Beauty and the Beast took a few more liberties with the live action. Most of the other movies, I mean, Little Mermaid did that last year, but Lion King was almost shot for shot, and I didn't like the fact that they did that.
Well, now they get to go off script, unless they're going to mimic Lion King 1.5, which is a movie I had to watch in choir over and over and over again. All right.
I'm so sorry.
Let's go. And by the way, if you're a choir teacher, sorry, this is very critical this many years later, but
How good is the music in the Lion
the
King?
music from the original Lion King, can anyone name a single song from the other two movies? I don't think so. But the Lion King, there's hit
Same
after
music?
hit after hit.
Because it's just the other way around. It's just coming from a different angle.
I don't know if we just
Hakuna
had
Matata again.
maybe the public school system just had a very low VHS budget, but come on. The
Yeah, I
original
don't
Lion
remember,
King-
but surely they sang Hakuna Matata again. in that one because it's from their angle.
Yeah, I think all of the songs were the same, but it was just from Timon's perspective as Simba's going through his story.
You can just hear the screaming at the beginning of Circle of Life off in the distance because they're not actually there. They didn't get invited to see Simba get held up.
I didn't think that Tyler's commentary would trigger me as much as it has, but it certainly has. All right, number 3 on Luntz's list. Once again, if you're just joining us, we are looking at the most impactful movies from the 1990s, according to John Lunsford for himself. So this is called Luntz's list for a reason. We're just here to disagree with the way in which he had his upbringing happen, I guess. All right, number 3. Oh, this is the one that I thought was the lock. This is Saving Private Ryan, right?
Oh, I was going to Saving Silverman because I was going to say
Can't be Saving Silverman, I don't think. I think that wasn't that early 2000s?
Yeah, it was. Probably 2000, 2001.
That's not making any list of any kind that
Saving
you
Private
possibly give
Ryan.
me.
I knew this was going to be on your list. This is one of your favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Is it the second best Spielberg movie in your opinion because you love E.T. so much?
Yes.
It's the second best
More
Steven
than AI.
Spielberg movie.
I actually love AI, and it's probably a top 5 Spielberg movie for me, but no, I would say Saving Private Ryan. And I'm one of the only people I know that thinks that, but yes, it's second on E.T.
This is a huge movie of the 1990s, obviously starring Tom Hanks. You got Matt Damon in there. You got Vin Diesel in there, who you really
See,
like.
that's the thing about this cast. It's been a while since I watched it, but I was watching they do a thing, I don't remember who does it, but a lot of actors do it when they have a movie come out and they go through their whole career of like, hey, you remember when you did your first movie here? Hey, you remember when you had your first iconic role or whatever? So they did it with Paul Giamatti this year because of the holdovers. And when they get to Saving Private Ryan, it's like, I forgot Paul Giamatti was even in that. I randomly saw something about Bryan Cranston being in that. I forgot Bryan Cranston.
Ted Danson.
It's Ted Danson's in it. It has, this sounds weird, and maybe it's not the right way to phrase it, but it has a massively underrated cast because you think Tom Hanks, you think Matt Damon, you think the title people of the movie, but like you get to the Vin Diesels, you get to Giovanni Ribisi, you get to Barry Pepper, who may or may not appear again on this list. Tom Sizemore, who just passed away, right?
Yep.
Like,
Recently.
there's a lot of people in this that you just don't think of when you name the iconic, like every movie that I've named here, you can name iconic people. Titanic, you can name Leonardo DiCaprio. I guess Lion King, maybe not quite as much, but James Earl Jones, not him, but James Earl Jones is close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I talked about this earlier on in the show. My dad was not a movie person, right? And this is a show honoring his legacy. This is one of the few movies that he had to see opening weekend, and he went and saw it. And
I can't imagine watching.
He loved it, but he watched it alone, and he didn't know how he would handle it, being a war veteran himself. But a lot of people, this is what they consider to be their favorite war movie, and I'm pretty sure it's right up there for you, if not number one. It's close to the top. My personal favorite Spielberg movie, just because we're on the topic for 5 seconds, is Jaws, which is why we have this lovely piece of history up here. But we'll get into Jaws at another date.
And that's why I have an E.T. Well, you probably can't see it, but there's a little Funko Pop E.T. right there, which is why I have that, and not one of Matt Damon.
Did he do the Adventures of Tintin?
I don't think so. Did he?
I thought
I
was
think
he attached
he
to
did.
that? I think he may have produced it.
Wow, that's a very random. That's the fact that I know less about that than Lion King 1.5 is actually quite insane. There, Tyler, have you seen Saving Private Ryan?
The Adventures of Tintin in 2011. He did that in War Horse in the same year.
I saw War Horse. I actually saw
War Horse a lot better than that. Yeah,
I have seen Saving Private Ryan, and it is probably one of the best war movies I've ever seen. And that's coming from someone who isn't really a war movie guy. I like Saving Private Ryan, Apocalypse Now, and Fury, and that's about it.
Ooh, Fury's rough.
Apocalypse Now is one I need to see. See, I'm not a war guy either. That's what really turned me on to, hey, war movies are actually decent. Now, it came out when I was younger. I didn't go see it in theaters, but watching it after the fact, watching it a lot after that, 1917 is probably my number 2, just because I'm crazy about the way it was filmed. It was
gimmicky, but it really worked. I almost don't want to watch it a second time because it was so perfect the first time.
I'm with you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, real quick. I had a Saving Private Ryan question for you. I know what it is. I'm going to turn John into the villain here.
Okay.
You ready? I'm going to turn you into a villain.
Is this going to trash Vin Diesel?
No, it's going to trash you.
Oh.
You believe fully that Shakespeare in Love should have won the Academy Award.
I was going to bring that up.
As it did win the Academy Award for Best Picture that year, when the entire rest of the world believes Saving Private Ryan should have won the Academy Award for Best Picture. I believe this was in 1997, right? 98.
Yeah. Wait, you think I think it should Shakespeare in Love should have won?
You told me that.
I never said that.
You totally told me that.
Why would I want Shakespeare in Love to win over one of my favorite movies of all time?
You said Shakespeare in Love deserved
My
to
wife
win
probably
that.
thought that.
No, you told me that.
No, I
We're
don't
about
care.
to have all of these conversations.
I don't care
recorded.
anything about Shakespeare in Love. I've never seen Shakespeare in Love.
That's not true.
I've never seen Shakespeare in Love.
Okay, well, we're going to have to talk about this off the air because I'm pretty confident.
I must have been Dale that said
You've
that.
never
not
seen
me.
Shakespeare in Love?
No.
Okay, must have been
I
somebody
have no
else.
desire because it beat Saving Private Ryan.
Who
And
was it?
I don't know.
Anyway, you know who I bet
I'm
it
sure
was?
it's great. I don't know.
Bet it was Matt Murphy who I was having that conversation
Probably
with.
was. He has bad taste.
I don't know. All right, let's move on to number 2 on Luntz's list. Now I'm the bad guy for misremembering a conversation. Even though I'm going to have to do some detective work in my own head.
My wife
here
just
to
said she
figure
never
it
said
out.
that either, so I don't know where that came from. All right, number 2.
Number 2. So here we are in the 90s. What song around this time was like your go-to rock star?
Well, the
What
90s was my jam. 1995. Like I couldn't stop naming songs.
give me maybe a 90s movie with a tremendous soundtrack.
Singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the big song off of that?
It had Pearl Jam. It had Alice in Chains. It
That
had
was everything.
Soundgarden. It had Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
It had Mother Love Bone.
And it was a good movie.
It was Cameron Crowe movie. Yeah. Have you seen that one?
I have not. I'm not.
Matt Dillon, Bridget Fonda.
You can't be. I mean, you are the guy who hasn't seen Titanic.
You're the movie guy.
Yeah. Forrest Gump, number 2.
This is one.
This is Tom Hanks on a fiery run, is what this is.
So Tom Hanks in the 90s.
Tom Hanks in
And
the.
it's-
I wouldn't be shocked if Toy Story's number 1 somehow.
It's one of those movies that I've seen probably 1.5 times, and I can quote nonstop, which is crazy that I retained that from 94, which is also the same year as The Lion King.
Yep.
94 is a good year for Lunsford. The one thing I always remember about this was that John Travolta was up for the part, but he said no because he was going to make Battlefield Earth,
Whoops.
and they gave it to Tom
Yeah.
Hanks.
Great
film.
Crazy thing.
Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, you have that, you know?
Here's one of the biggest reasons. It's one of my top 10 of all time, but here's one of the biggest reasons for me. It's because the way you phrased it was not just best, which these probably would be 5 best, but the 5 that had the biggest impression on me. And that's probably why Forrest Gump is ahead of Saving Private Ryan for me. Is for me, who I was 7 at the time, this is the first time on the big screen with a massive movie that a lot of people saw, won a bunch of awards, that Alabama was represented on the screen.
There we go.
That not only the state of Alabama, but the University of Alabama, which at that point I had already been going to games for 3 or 4 years with my parents. Grew up an Alabama fan. My dad went to Alabama. I went to Alabama. And so it was the first time that I saw, and I know there were parts of Alabama, obviously, that are fictionalized, but like that's the first time I saw our state, both negative and positive, represented on the big screen in a movie with, and of course, introducing me to plenty of actors like Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, Sally Field, a lot of people that as a young kid, I didn't know necessarily who a lot of these people were, that then I would go on to watch over and over again my entire life.
My question is, did you walk out? I think I did. Walk out and ask your dad if does he remember that Forrest Gump played for Alabama? Like, did you take a lot with a modicum of truth?
I don't think I asked him that.
That guy had an interesting life.
I don't think I asked him that, but I'm sure I did ask questions about the overall, once again, both positive and negative things that it brought about Alabama. But of all the scenes in Alabama, I probably did ask him, hey, did this happen? Did this happen? Event-wise, not like, hey, was Forrest Gump the greatest, return man on kickoffs ever for Alabama?
Forrest Gump, that was Robert Zemeckis, is that correct? Behind Forrest Gump, and then they reunited for Castaway a few years later. And I've always...
Haley Joel Osment, too, introduced me to him before then Sixth Sense came out a few years later.
What are you watching? Bert and Ernie.
Sally Field.
Yeah.
Another really good cast there. I think Forrest Gump is going to be popular with a lot of people in the chat for sure, as it makes number 2 on Luntz's list. I want to go ahead and get us to number 1, the movie that you would say has had the biggest impact on you from the 1990s. While John is writing that out, we would love to support those that have given back to our country when buying or selling a home. Remember our friend Jim Wilson with Location Real Estate. Jim is all about honesty and transparency with his clients. He's still active with the U.S. military and is dedicated to everything that he does. Jim is only happy when you are happy. Each of Jim Wilson's clients has his full attention and devotion to get what they need and want, not only during the home buying or selling experience, but every day after. He's an advocate for you. Whether you're buying or selling, contact Realtor Jim Wilson with Location Real Estate. That's location with a K at 205-329-4758. That's 329-4758, or visit jimwilson.locationre.com. All right, number one, The Green Mile, another Tom Hanks movie.
Another Barry Pepper movie, too. Yep. Another Spielberg
That's part of the reason I brought him up. Saving Private Ryan, it's like, and Barry Pepper, who may make an appearance again.
Was Toy Story close to being on this list? Because
Toy Story is part of the 23, I will say that.
Talk about Tom Hanks dominating Luntz's list. I have a feeling you like Tom Hanks, John.
Tom Hanks in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, lately he's fallen off a little bit. I mean, look, he's still a good actor. It's just like
he plays Tom Hanks in movies now.
He does. I mean,
Tom
the movies
Hanks
he
plays
chooses.
this. Tom Hanks plays this. You know, it's like
the movies he chooses aren't necessarily like, oh, I got to run out and see that. But no, Tom Hanks in the 90s was the thing. And look, I don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
As my wife just texted Stephen King, because I'm not going to rush out and see anything Stephen King, is behind the story of. But he does get away from horror every now and then. And this obviously has a mystical fantasy kind of element to it, but not a horror movie per se, depending on how you want to define horror. And this is one that I didn't rush out to see, but my dad, I didn't see it in theaters. The minute it hit shelves with VHS, only on one VHS, then he went and picked it up at Blockbuster. We watched it, and I was sold after that. And that did get me into learning about Stephen King and respecting what Stephen King has done, even though I don't care when whatever horror movie comes out that he's attached, it's off his books. But it also introduced me to Michael Clark Duncan as well, who was incredible. I think he lost to Michael Caine that year, maybe. The Oscar, yeah.
Which, by the way, Michael Caine was not at the Oscars, was he? Because he was shooting.
I honestly don't remember.
What year was this again?
So it would have been in 2000, but it was 1999 was the year the movie came out.
That was another Oscars. Where
I think it was Michael Caine, but anyway. But Michael Clark Duncan was incredible. He's one of those I really liked. Movie choices weren't the best. I'm not gonna, Marky Mark's Planet of the Apes, or he played King. He Whole 9 Yards, which is what he did right after The Green Mile, or like he played Kingpin in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movies. But got a little better on Talladega Nights. I liked. My guilty pleasure movie that's everybody considers awful is The Island, which is a Michael Bay movie with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson.
Definitely a guilty pleasure movie.
And and he's in that. I love that movie. I'm probably the only person on the planet that says that. But he's one, like, that acting performance is up there. It's one of the best I've ever seen from just that movie, what Michael Clark Duncan did. I mean, everybody was good. And that was Sam Rockwell is kind of an introduction to him for me, because he had done stuff, but not like super big that I would have seen as a kid. Everything about this movie is just absolute perfection. And it's one of the first movies I can remember, like, the truth, but something bad ends up happening at the end anyway. I guess I'm kind of spoiling it, but like, seeing the visions and seeing like, hey, this is actually a good guy and he's wrongly accused and all that. Like, that's just something I hadn't really seen or read or anything, because I was 12 when it came out. That it was just kind of fascinating to see that whole angle play out in the movie.
So there we have it, Luntz's list. Number 1, The Green Mile. Number 2, Forrest Gump. Number 3, Saving Private Ryan. Number 4, The Lion King. Number 5, Titanic. Would any of these make your personal top 5, Rocky?
I would say Saving Private Ryan would be the only one that would make mine.
Titanic would definitely make mine. I'm not sure any of the others would. I loved Independence Day. It was a huge movie that
It's in the 23.
just shaped me very much in 1996.
Should I just name the others so we can just say?
Throw them out there so that way
at
least the chat will be satisfied, because they're throwing out a lot of different 90s movies.
So the one that just missed the list that I fought back and forth with to put on the list with Titanic, believe it or not, is Varsity Blues from 1999.
You love that movie.
I love Varsity Blues. It's Allie Larder's birthday today, which after I wrote this list, they brought up Allie Larder on 4 Downs today, even though they only did 3 of them. Yep. Toy Story was next. It was, I guess, number 7. The Matrix, 1999.
I fell asleep in The Matrix. I did.
But just because it was so revolutionary when it came out. Office Space would not have been up there until probably 7 or 8 years ago, because I realized everything that happens in Office Space is 100% true.
Mm-hmm. Office Space holds up so well.
Yep. It does.
Like it was.
Samir Nain and Najad. It's not that hard. Ain and Najad.
Michael Bolton probably still getting royalties somehow off of that. It's an amazing movie.
It is incredibly true too. Everything about it. And then Jurassic Park rounded up kind of my next 5 of movies. The other ones that were close, The Iron Giant, love that one. Billy Madison, Big Lebowski, Bicentennial Man. Once again, I'm probably the only person on the planet that loved that movie, but that's my favorite Robin Williams movie. Independence Day, Good Will Hunting, Beauty and the Beast, Rudy, The Truman Show, Goodfellas, Silence of the Lambs, Home Alone, and the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, there you go.
There you
I
go.
was waiting for that. No Shawshank?
I have never seen Shawshank. It's one of those you just mentioned with Titanic.
Yep.
The moment's kind of passed for it, and I know everybody goes back and it's like, but it's like one of the great, like with Titanic, it's one of the greatest all time. You got to watch it. It's like now it's like that's kind of one of those I want to keep in my back pocket of like I haven't seen it and I don't really care to go
It's
see it.
so overhyped. There's no way it's going to live up to the hype for you. There's
Correct, which is what happened with The
0%
Godfather
chance.
with me because I watched it for the first time a few years ago.
Same with me.
And it's like you just can't match the hype that this movie has. So I'm going to say it's not as good as everybody is just losing their mind over.
All right. So there we have Luntz's list. Appreciate everybody contributing there in the chat. A lot of different choices being thrown out there of maybe what should made the list, including from your wife who believes Blair Witch Project is.
When I
one of
told
the
her
most
this was the list, that's literally the first thing she
You want
said.
to talk about influential marketing campaigns of the 90s?
And I remember all that.
Blair Witch Project's number one.
Was that
Number
the
one.
launch of the found footage films? Because that's one thing. That's one genre I'm ready to stop was the found footage. Because it's just too.
I love
shaky for me.
Cloverfield, but it's not something I want to see all the time. It's good every now and then.
Okay, I want to get into a brand new segment on this show that we have not yet done, but one I am resurrecting from News and Views, which is something I hosted for a couple of years here in my most recent venture. It's called 10 with Tim. I've got 10 questions. I need 10 answers, and I have a panel here. I actually thought you were picking up the guitar.
I was going to.
Go ahead. Give me a little ditty
10
about
with Tim?
It's called 10 with Tim. Give me something that's gold right here.
Gold. I can give you.
What is
pyrite.
this? What is this? It's 10 with Tim. Ho, ho.
10 with 10 with 10 with Tim. 10 with 10 at the 10. TINOTEN. It's 10 with Tim. It's 10.
It's catchy.
Keep it. You'll never be able to do it the same way.
Remember that tomorrow. Nope.
We'll rewatch this episode.
Some of the best songs that you do is when Jim's like, hey, we're going to do a segment next break, next segment. Come up with a song for it, and you just come up with it
Because you
off
don't
the
think
fly.
about it too much.
But it ends up being funny, and so it fits. So I like it.
10 with Tim. I've probably had about 10 dental procedures done over the past year, thanks to the staff at Alabama Dental Associates. I put it off for, this isn't now I sound bad, I put it off for about 10 years. I had a horrible dentist experience where not only did I get drilled too deep on, but then they took out the wrong tooth to try to fix it. It was a nightmare. It was absolutely awful. And Alabama Dental Associates has restored my faith in not only dentistry, but humanity. And I recommend that you visit my friends there at Alabama Dental Associates. They provide specialized care in both general and cosmetic dentistry. While they're well trained in the latest techniques and use state-of-the-art equipment, they never forget their number one priority, which is friendly, personalized care for their patients. You can visit them right there on Grants Mill Road. Make an appointment today, 205-956-8977. It's very important that you don't put it off as long as I did. 956-8977 with Dr. Brian and Dr. Jeff there at Alabama Dental Associates, alabamadental.com. All right, number one on 10 with Tim. The question is going to be, Tyler, name a deceased actor or actress that you still wish was making movies today.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams is a great choice. His death was one that was shocking to everyone. It was a time of great mourning when Robin Williams left, and he made so many people laugh, smile, cry. Later on, he did dip into horror and scared a lot of people with 1 Hour Photo. He was great in Christopher Nolan's Insomnia. He was really a jack of all trades. And if you look at the 90s, I mean, when you talk about the biggest stars of the 90s, Tom Hanks is definitely up there. Robin Williams has to be a part of that conversation as well with Aladdin and Mrs. Doubtfire. You could keep going on and on and on. Rocky, I know you like the choice already, but name a deceased actor or actress that you wish was still making movies today.
You're going to have to come back to me because I was going to, first thing I thought of was Robin Williams.
Well, that's fine to go with that answer too. I'm okay with duplicate answers, but tell me why.
Well, because he was so versatile. To be able to do Good Will Hunting and then to be able to do a movie like Jack and Mrs. Doubtfire, Good Morning Vietnam,
The Birdcage.
Dead Poet Society, stuff like that, where he was so versatile that whenever they said he had a beard or whatever, he was a serious actor, but then going into the horror genre later on, that's incredible. Like, to be Adam Sandler's one way. I know everybody says Uncut Gems, but like, he's one way. He's comedy. For him to be in a serious role, people will laugh at. But Robin Williams could get away with both. I mean, it doesn't get better than him doing Popeye.
Well, I think it does get better,
That
actually.
was an awful movie.
Jody says Philip Seymour Hoffman
That
was...
was going to be my
No.
That was going to be my answer.
How does I'm sorry, this is already... The segment's already done because everyone keeps...
I had written Philip Seymour Hoffman to remember. It's like, somebody going to say that.
Now,
Okay.
to be clear, they don't know the questions I'm asking, so you wrote it down in between this
Well, if you were going to
here?
ask me the same question,
But-
I'm going to ask you the same question.
But one that I'm curious about, not that I necessarily wouldn't want them making more movies, what they would have done afterwards is somebody like Heath Ledger.
Oh my gosh. Can we get a shot behind Tyler here? Because there's actually Heath Ledger sort of trending right now.
Yeah.
And we have him right there playing the Joker behind Tyler. And it's an iconic look for sure. But Timothée Chalamet, who's one of the biggest box office stars in the world right now because he has Wonka in the top 10. He's about to have Dune Part 2 coming out officially this week and is going to have 2 movies in the top 10. He said that the advice that he got from Leonardo DiCaprio was don't make superhero movies and don't do hard drugs. Those are the 2 things in his career.
I like how Hard Drugs is second.
It was
Well,
second. And Timothée Chalamet said, I'll follow your advice. But now is saying, I may have to break the thing on the superhero movie rule that Leo gave me because Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight is what he says gave him the acting bug to even be a part of this. Because it was so much of a transformative role and performance that Heath Ledger gave. And if you go back and you watch The Dark Knight, it still holds up. It has overshadowed the movie even with how great of a performance it is, and he definitely deserved the Best Supporting Actor award there. But that is a conversation that's coming right back up again, is Heath Ledger and his impact and what we would have got post-Joker if we'd been given the opportunity. So that's a great mention there. Number 2 on Luntz's list. Number 2 on 10 with Tim. I'll get my own segment correct here soon. Would you rather have, John, an unlimited gift card to Olive Garden or Red Lobster if you're not on Way to Wellness?
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden.
I don't eat fish. I mean, Olive Garden 100. I'd just be eating the cheese biscuits if I was at Red Lobster.
Red Lobster. I love seafood and the Cheddar Bay biscuits.
Okay, Tyler going with Red Lobster. I'm probably more of an Olive Garden fan there, but they're part of the same family.
They train their chefs in Tuscany. Like
they do.
And when you're there, your family.
Yeah.
That is correct. We're going to move on to number 3 before we get a cease and desist. We've already gotten plenty of those. Number 3, what is the fastest you think right now, Rockstar, you could currently run a mile?
If I had to do it like right after the show,
You have to do it right now, right after the show.
I think I could get a good 10, 20. 10, 20.
10 minutes and 20 seconds for the mile.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyler?
I'm going to go 11:30.
Okay. I'm not going to say you just moved each one of those barometers up by 1 unit, but it sounds like that's what you did.
Is okay?
He said 10:20 and you said 11:30. So 1 more minute and 10 more seconds.
Yeah.
John?
Let's see. So right now it is, as we're recording this, 2:48 on Wednesday. So Saturday.
Okay. There we go. But with John's friends at Way to Wellness, that is going to change here very soon, I feel
In
like.
a year, ask me the question again.
I will. All right. What color grapes?
Whoa.
Or me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Sunday. Yeah. Did you see me out on the basketball court?
Did you see me?
You ran around a lot more than the two of
I
us
used to
did.
run a lot, but I don't run anymore.
So you don't attend poker nights, Rockstar.
You've noticed. Okay.
But the talk of the poker table was, did you see the pass that Rockstar had over the back of his head where you called my name out and he got the pass there perfectly? That was the talk of the discussion.
You had to catch it, though, so you were 50% of the equation.
I had to catch it and put it in.
Exactly. It could have hit the rim. It could you could had no idea. I remember when Pistol Pete started, he was doing that and nobody was catching balls because I had no idea you were going to pass it to him. So they all looked terrible, but it's 50% of the equation.
The pressure was on you because if you missed the shot,
you didn't get the
that
assist.
entire
Or
clip
missed the catch.
doesn't count. Yeah.
Thank you. You guys giving me the proper credit. I appreciate that. What color grapes are the best, Rockstar?
The darker colors. I'm not a green grape fan. The darker ones, they're I can't remember. There's one new one called Moondrops. If you guys have had those, they literally look like little eggplants, and they are a dark color, but they are super sweet. I am not a tart fan. I think the green grapes are more tart, so I would go darker.
Y'all tried the cotton candy grapes?
See, I was gonna say
It's
green
awkward.
grapes, but I hate those.
I hate the cotton candy
Yeah, my
ones.
wife loves them. She gets them all the time, and I'm like, ooh, green grapes. Nope, I don't want to
It
eat
is
those.
a fake out.
Yeah.
It is. Tyler, what color grapes are the best?
So, like Rockstar, I don't like the tart grapes. I don't like green grapes. So I'll go red grapes or the cotton candy grapes. That
So you'll take
completely
whatever
fake John out.
whatever cotton candy grapes John doesn't
Or
want.
the grape Laffy Taffy.
Okay. What is this answer to this question? It's the Saturday morning of your childhood, John. What's on the TV and what cereal are you eating?
I'm eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I honestly wasn't a huge cartoon guy in the mornings, like Saturday morning cartoons. I liked when they brought Doug back on ABC, I believe it was, when I guess Disney took that over.
How did that theme song go again? Okay, let's stop that.
Yeah, that was it.
Cherries.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, so I love Doug on Nickelodeon, and then when they brought that back, I liked it. That was one of the things that got me watching Saturday morning. Other than that, it was video games for me, or of course, football season. I would just, sleep until 11 and then watch football.
I would do this thing where I would be eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch and I put in a VHS copy of The Mask with Jim Carrey. And I did that every weekend for
I don't hate The Mask.
17
It's so
years.
random.
17 years in a row I did that, and I finally broke my streak, and now I have a family. What's on the TV and what cereal are you eating in the Saturday morning of your childhood?
Okay, that was my jam. So I'm going to do two things. Ninja Turtles had a cereal that was basically rice checks and marshmallows. It was awesome. And then having a sister, Smurfs actually had a cereal that was incredible. It was a Smurf Berry Crunch or something like that. And I would watch Ninja Turtles, G.I. Joe, He-Man. In later years, I tried to watch the X-Men cartoon, but that's when I first noticed that, oh my God, after every 2 minutes of content, they do 6 minutes of commercials for the X-Men cartoon. So that's a long-winded answer, but yeah, Smurf Berry Crunch and Ninja Turtles.
Matt says Spider-Man animated show and Peanut Butter Captain Crunch.
Ooh, that was good.
Never been a Captain Crunch guy.
Still
eats the roof of your mouth, but it's good.
Yeah, Michael, it says I was watching X-Men and I'm eating Captain Crunch. You have Russell that says Quisp and Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner. Russell, you're dating yourself just a little bit.
God, it's like 1948.
Oh my gosh. We were eating hay bales.
Steamboat Willie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. We have Richard who says Golden Grams or Apple Jacks is what he was eating. Tyler, what was the cereal? What was the show?
My favorite cereal is Captain Crunch. You can only eat about a bowl and a half before your mouth is
Alabama
done.
Dental Associates.
Yes, before you meet our friends at Alabama Dental Associates. And for the Saturday morning cartoon, I would either watch Tom and Jerry or Pokemon.
Okay.
Oh, wow, so
Dating yourself
gap.
reverse
Yeah.
style. You and Russell, if y'all had like a Freaky Friday situation where you had to swap lives, it would be very jarring for both of you.
What is this?
Number 6 on 10 with Tim. I know it's 10 with Tim because Lunce's List doesn't have a number 6, which is how I know we're in my segment.
That is correct.
John, what planet other than Earth interests you the most?
So probably Jupiter.
There a reason? It's just its size?
Its size. It's one of those because I feel like I'm not a. I went to space camp one time, so I don't act like I'm an expert.
Most people went 0 times, so I'm not sure throwing that out. I've only been to space camp.
I've only won one Oscar.
But the red dot on.
That's the worst excuse I've ever heard you make.
But
Anyway.
I'm not saying it, but it doesn't mean I'm an expert just because I went to space camp once. That's why I'm saying it. But the red dot on Jupiter, like I would love to see that from surface level. Like,
well, there is no surface. It's
from what would be.
It is a massive just gas storm.
Yeah. So to see it from here, that's one thing, but to like be in it, it's like you see the hurricane from above, but like then you see the crazy winds while Jim Cantor or whatever is trying to hold on to a light post. I'd love to see like what planets like that are on the planet, which we'll never get in our lifetime.
What planet other than Earth, Tyler, interests you the most?
Neptune always interested me the most. I always just found it fascinating that there's just a bunch of oceans there. I don't know how it would be useful to us.
It's another gas planet.
Is it not?
There's
I think it is, yeah.
There's another gas giant, but they had moons. I think everybody's Neptune's and Saturn's moons and Jupiter's moons are the things that interest him because of the ice and Actually, I used to be.
Well, I heard from Tyler they have water and they have tridents. Is what I heard from Tyler right there.
That's a good
Is
gum.
that true?
I didn't go to space camp at all, so don't quote me.
Yeah, we can tell. Rockstar, what planet other than Earth interests you the most?
Well, back in the day, it was Saturn because of the rings. But it's another gas giant, so there's nothing you can really do. I guess it would be, what is it, Venus? That's the only one that rotates counterclockwise. The only planet in our solar system that rotates counterclockwise on a different axis.
I went to space camp, so let me Wikipedia it.
I think it's Venus. It's either Venus or Mercury.
Is Pluto? Pluto's no longer a planet,
No,
right?
it's a-
I'm
it
a
is a
Pluto
dwarf
guy.
Well, see, I thought about saying that, and then you're gonna be like, "Who's not a planet anymore?"
I'm a Pluto defender.
I am too.
Bring Pluto back as a planet. That's what we all need in our life.
I'm with you.
So probably Venus, and it's supposed to be super duper hot, like rains acid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing you could really enjoy.
Surprised somebody said Uranus is a joke or Mars because it's like the one that if we go to a planet,
we
that
keep
would be the
poking
next
and prodding
logical
Mars.
choice.
We've got our next question here, and that is number 7. How many fish would you say you've owned in your life, Rockstar? How many fish would you say you've owned in your life?
Personally or like a family?
Both.
Because I think my brother in high school had like 3 fish that died. I think I had a goldfish, so I would say 4.
4. Rockstar is given his answer. Tyler, it's time for yours.
All right, I had 2 beta fish. One's name was George, and the other's name was
Jerry?
Squidward.
Oh.
Did you put them together?
No, this was one after the other.
Oh.
If you put 2 male beta fish together, it's bad news.
Right. It's Gladiator Part 3 there.
I did get a pet shrimp to put in with the first beta fish, and I named him Scrimp, but he didn't make it through the night. George killed him.
Oh, my gosh.
George is vicious.
This is taking a turn.
He was an alpha beta.
He was. How many fish have you owned, John?
I honestly have no idea. I want to say I've had a goldfish or 2 that you get at the state fair or something, but honestly don't remember if I had any fish or not.
So no one currently has a fish.
No, God. It's been at least a week.
Should we get a Meltdown fish and have it in studio?
We just like put the tank over here on the shelf. Yeah, sure. Why
I think
not?
that's a good idea.
Yeah, one of us could take it home each weekend like in first grade.
Yeah. Okay. All right. He doesn't like the idea.
Class goldfish.
Do you find it relaxing to cut grass, Rockstar?
Yes, I love visual results. I can vacuum. My first job was a car wash, and I was the one that I could vacuum cars all day before detailing because you immediately see your results. It is exhausting, but mowing the lawn, I don't mind doing it. It's just our yard sucks, but it just takes forever for me to do it. But seeing your results immediately is very gratifying.
You don't get it in our work. You don't get to see that immediately, especially when we were on the radio side.
Correct.
You just every day you're going in and you're completing tasks and you're trying to entertain and all of that, but you don't see those immediate results.
Correct.
You're
You don't
right.
have
There
that
is something rewarding
instant
about
gratification.
that. Tyler, do you like cutting grass?
No, not at all. I used to work for a landscaping company, and so I would have to mow the lawns outside of a church, get rid of all the weeds, edge, and do all that. And I never want to do it again.
This is the weirdest thing I can say about my grass mowing lifestyle. And that is that most people, they play video games and it motivates them to stay indoors even longer. I played Lawn Mowing Simulator on Xbox and fell in love with it. And it motivated me to get out there and cut my own grass. And
You're
do
the
real
one person
thing.
that reached. Like I'm telling you, people, if we get this game, it's going to influence kids to mow the lawn. Tim's our guy.
Lawnmower Simulator. I went out there and I was like, this is like doing the real thing. This is like the VR experience.
And it's hot as hell.
And it was hot and it was rewarding and I've cut my grass for years now because of that. And I've been a big fan of that game. It was a gateway drug to me actually doing yard work. John, do you like cutting grass?
No, it kills me when I go out there and do it from allergies. Grass is the thing I'm most allergic to. So I did it for a little bit, then realized I would come in and balloon up every time I'd come in and do it. Took an allergy test, and that was the end of that. So, no, awful.
Good
Hate
excuse
it.
for never have to do yard work. I would if I could.
It's
I
great.
I want to so bad to pick those weeds. I just can't.
But I mean, do you want me to die? That's
Yeah.
basically what he has to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Number 9, I think we're going to get to all 10. Who up here at the office, John, has the best laugh, in your opinion? It can be anyone in this room. It can be anyone that works for Disrupt Media. Who has the best laugh overall, in your opinion?
It would be Rockstar. When something's truly funny,
Oh, wow.
And like you have a radio laugh when you're like contributing to whatever the segment is. I mean, look, we all do it. Yeah. But like,
don't give away industry secrets.
But like when something's truly funny, and I've caught it on video a couple of times, and you just lose it.
Yeah.
You have the best laugh.
Oh, thank you. I would go with Kelsey because that's when I pick up on it. We have a delay if I say something or somebody says something. You got that good 10 seconds, and then it reaches Kelsey, and you get that laugh. So, and she's behind Lunsford, the best sneezer.
Kelsey always. Have you noticed she always like covers her mouth when she's about to laugh? Like she always, and then
it's a tell.
You get some shoulders there.
It is finger up like that. It's never like that.
Yeah.
It's always like
Dr. Evil kind of thing.
It's very, very funny. It makes me laugh to watch her laugh. So that's a great choice. Tyler, who up here at the office has the best laugh?
I've got to go either Kelsey or Mr. John Lunsford.
wow. I hate my laugh. I hate my voice. I hate everything about coming out of my mouth. I hate my sneezing, all that. So I don't know, but actually, people in the chat are saying I have a good laugh
You have
too.
a tremendous laugh, John, and it's because a lot of us will be down the hallway when you guys are doing the next round, and we'll know something is about to be funny because we're watching on a little bit of a delay when we hear your laugh echoing down the halls. Yeah. So, and it's normally to something that Rockstar has said. Normally.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than hearing my sneeze down the hall.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't sneezed on this show yet. It's coming. I'm sure.
This is the final question.
Tim, you didn't answer.
I have to give the answer to. It's my segment.
Well, sometimes I'm curious.
Okay. I think the best laugh up here at the building is going to be Ryan Brown. I think Ryan Brown's laugh is really good. Now, sometimes I wonder, is it authentic? But it fools me every time if it's not.
Well, Lance is a silent laugher.
But
Lance is like, you can tell he's laughing.
Brown has to get into position to laugh. He's
Brown turns red. Yeah.
Like he has to he has to get in a safe spot.
Yeah.
And so that always makes me chuckle. So Ryan Brown would be my answer. All right, number 10 on 10 with Tim. Final question. How often, Tyler, do you get frustrated on Highway 280?
Every day. For anybody who's new to the show or new to seeing me on any of these shows, sometimes I run deliveries after I'm done editing or done recording stuff, and 280 traffic is no fun when you've got to wait in it and get 20 miles down the road to somewhere you've never been.
Even sometimes when you're not done editing or done doing stuff, you're making deliveries on 280.
Sometimes, not nearly as much these days.
It's a very exciting time. Rockstar, how often do you get frustrated on Highway 280?
A lot. I don't like the wrecks because the problem was there's a wreck in the middle of the road. It's the people that wait to merge to the very last second, and then you're stuck. Like I can see, like, oh, I got to get right, and these people are staying centered. They're not getting right, and then I have to wait. And it's just that stuff. And then I accept the majority of it. I don't live on 280, so I try to avoid it as much as I can. But I've been in Atlanta traffic, and it's nothing compared. That 280 is nothing compared to Atlanta.
John is a very nice human being, but he's a very angry driver, and I think he'll admit that. He lets road rage get the best of him sometimes. Not where he really takes it out on anybody, but internally in the car, there's a type of fury.
I mean, I take it out on the people that are like I'm. Road rage is going to get me one day. Like I'll say that it's gonna catch up to me. I take it out on the people. They just obviously can't hear me. They probably can see me doing it to them, but that is where I feel like I'm pretty nice most of the time. And when I have to let out pent up aggression, driving is what I do. You've driven with me a lot to see that, but I hate 280. I get off 459, and where our office is right off 459, and so I'll consider it. I mean, it's a stretch of a quarter mile of 280. But the merging is the absolute worst because there's 3 lanes now getting off 459 and going, I guess, south on 280. And there's 3 lanes, and there's 1 lane that we get into to turn right. I guess you and I are really the only 2, I think, that come off 459 the way we go. Do you take 459 at all?
Oh, no, I avoid it.
So, like, we're the only 2, I think, that really have to deal with it. But you turn right, and then you have to turn right again. And in doing so, everybody gets over all the way to the right, and then they have to get back over multiple lanes to the left. It makes no sense why they do it. And so every time I get over to the right, and I have done it every day that I have worked here and come into work, I count however many cars are in front of me, and I guess how many are going to get over and realize, hey, I'm in the wrong lane. I got to get back over to the left. So you get off the interstate, you get right, and then you have to get right back left. There's zero reason for you to be in that lane whatsoever. And every day it's multiple cars that are in front of me because it's coming in right at the beginning of the
He was
work
more
hours.
passionate about this than Green Mile.
And like I said, I take a lot of, I yell a lot in the car, but, and then 280, that's maybe not what you're talking about, but 280 going to Auburn.
Yeah.
I've made that trek a lot. And obviously anybody that went to Auburn made that trek a lot. I'm sure Tyler has. That's once you hit like Harpersville, Dadeville, those areas where the cops are sitting out, the traps make me.
You don't like it going from 55 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour to 65 miles?
That makes you rage because even if I don't get caught, I've gotten one ticket, I think my whole time driving that. But even if I don't get caught, it's still like, what is wrong with you? Why did y'all make, why did the department, I don't know who makes the speed limit. Is that Department of Transportation? I don't know. But like whoever makes that, why did you make it go from 55 to 35 over a hill where you can't see that it's about to change and you forget about it because you're on a 2-hour drive down to Auburn?
It's a speed trap.
I know it's a speed trap, but it's like, it's so stupid and I'm not going to like it. I never will like it. And I will always yell and cuss about it.
I've totaled one car. It was my own, and it was on Highway 280 on Valentine's Day 2012. And 280, I've always driven it with fear ever since. One place on Highway 280 that I recommend you go is Culver's, where Highway 280 meets Highway 119 off of Cahaba Valley Road. They're in the Tattersall Park development. You can welcome yourself there to delicious by going to Culver's. It's the best way to kind of get over the road rage that Highway 280 may provide to you. Get down there and have a lovely butter burger or some fresh frozen custard or some Wisconsin cheese curds. They've got a great menu for you there at Culver's. And John, I'm pretty sure back tonight you'll be playing again on MyBookie.
I am. A couple of hockey games tonight I've already taken a look at. Go to mybookie.ag. Thanks to them for being the title sponsor here of this show. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with our friends at MyBookie, and just added a bunch of new live casino games there as well. I was checking those out last night. All you got to do is go there, click Live Casino, make your first deposit, use code NEXTROUND. When you use that, you'll get a first deposit bonus. You'll get a little extra to play with in those live casino games. They have blackjack. They have roulette, which I know you're all about. They have a lot of games there for you to go and, try and make a little money there. And also plenty of sports, horses, lots of other stuff on there. So go to mybookie.ag. Use promo code NEXTROUND.
We appreciate Rockstar and Tyler being here with us today. We're looking very forward to Dune Part 2 coming out tomorrow evening. We're going to go see it and have a full review for you on Friday of whether or not it's worth your dollar. This has been The Meltdown presented by MyBookie, broadcasting live from the Culver studio.